Alpen Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Hello dear children, let us start with our last poem, that is Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. So in your syllabus you have 5 poems, this is the last one. The 5th poem has been deleted for this year. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers by Adrienne Rich. Let us know about the poet. Adrienne Cecil Rich was born in 1929 and she lived till 2012. She was born in Baltimore, Maryland, US. She was an American poet, essayist and feminist. She has been known for her involvement in contemporary women's movement as a poet as well as a theorist. She has published 19 volumes of poetry, 3 collections of essays and other writings. Now, it is said Adrienne Rich has explored the inner feelings of a woman who is living under the dominance of men. There is a strong resistance to racism and militarism which echoes in all her work. The poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers addresses the constraints of a married life of a woman and whatever hardship she experiences in her matrimony. Now let me recite to you the poem. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers by Adrienne Cecil Rich. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. When aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. Now let us see the analysis and the synopsis of this whole poem. I'll paraphrase it line by line for you. As we start the poem, you will see that there are only 3 verses, 3 stanzas, and they are all arranged in a quatrain, that is 4 lines, but I have taken up here a couplet so that's easier to understand. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. Now Aunt Jennifer is the character over here who has been in marriage for many years and it looks like she has become old, but she has this passion in her free time or a hobby which she has taken up of embroidering. Now the embroidery which is being described in this first verse is that Aunt Jennifer is with her ivory needle making or embroidering or creating these tigers on a screen. Screen is that ring which you see when you are embroidering, you put the cloth or the material in it and then you embroider, you sew it. They are prancing across a screen. Now what is prance? Prance is a word normally which is for horses, like when they are just in a movement sort of in long steps. So here walk or move around, but the poet, we can say through the poet, the narrator is using it for the tigers. They are springing across a screen, so they look very majestic, they look very elegant. They are bright topaz denizens of a world of green. Now what are bright topaz denizens? She compares them, the color of the tigers she describes, that they are bright orangish yellow in color. And they are denizens of a world of green. Denizens are actually citizens, but here when it has been referred to the tigers, it means they are the natives, they are the inhabitants of a world of green referring to forests. So the tigers belong to a forest, so she has even embroidered them in their entire habitat. So you can look at the picture of the tigers and they are looking very elegantly, very proud. They prance across a screen, bright topaz, denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. The next lines. Now these tigers are embroidered in a manner that they are on the tree, and there are these hunters or the men who are standing below the tree who want to hunt them, but the tigers are not afraid. They are looking at them and they are sneering at them. They are just proudly looking down at them. They are not afraid. They do not fear the men beneath the tree, the men who are ready to hunt them. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Now understand this, they pace, they are pacing, they are ready to pounce on them, that the moment they make an action, these are going to spring from the tree, the tigers are going to spring from the tree. Now the poet makes these, or symbolically she refers to these tigers as proud, fearless natives of the forest. They are elegant because they are sleek, they are well toned, their body is very muscular, and they are shining, and they have this gentleman's grace. Now why we say this? Because they are chivalric. Now chivalry is a word used for men, especially men when they give the highest respect and honor to women. So we call them gentlemen. So the tigers are considered to be chivalric. She is embroidering this piece of cloth. It must be because she wants to decorate her house, and as it is mentioned that this is a way in which women during that time. This poem is said to be set in she has written it in 1950s. So in those days I would like to just mention here that women did not have their own say in the things of the family. It was a patriarchal society. So everything was decided by the man or the men in the family. So similarly, Aunt Jennifer, when she cannot express herself, she creates her own world. She is creating a world in this embroidered panel, in this screen, and those are tigers. So they are exactly contrasting to what her character is. Aunt Jennifer is a frightened character, and the creatures which she is creating is these tigers. So she is embroidering them, and these tigers elegantly from the top of the tree, they are waiting to pounce. Next lines. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. Now Aunt Jennifer, you can see it in the frame, on a woolen or maybe on a cotton cloth she may be doing the embroidery, she may be embroidering, but the needles which are shown, now these are ivory needles. Normally we use steel needles, or even sometimes when we are embroidering in the wool we use plastic needles, but these are ivory needles because they are symbolizing that ivory comes from hunting animals and taking their tusks. So it was in the olden days that people would hunt and then use these tusks for various artifacts or even to make things like handles of daggers and even needles. Now that seems to be that the ivory, it seems that ivory needle is very difficult for aunt to pull, but it is not that it is very heavy, that is why she can't pull through the material. It is because it reflects that aunt is finding it very difficult to pull the needle because she is afraid of the men in her family, and especially her husband who has been dominating her throughout her marriage. So she is afraid of her husband, and she thinks that just because if he enters now and he finds her not doing any household chores, but then experiencing the world which she very much wants, that is to show and express her feelings through her artwork. If he catches her here, he is surely going to scold her. So that is the reason her fingers start fluttering. Now another reason why it is hard for her to pull through the ivory needle is her fingers are fluttering. Now why do fingers flutter? It is because they are trembling. She is trembling not because she is very weak, but she is mentally oppressed. So she has a mental thought in her mind is that you know, if he comes, if he catches her, what will happen? So, she has undergone such type of subjugation from her husband. So, she is afraid of him coming and finding it out, and she thinks that he will scold her. So, it is also, the poet also thinks that maybe because she has been working throughout her life and she has been in a bondage sort of. So, it is very difficult for her to, you know, confidently do anything which she likes. So, Aunt Jennifer, as you see, Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the tiny ivory needle difficult to pull, hard to pull. The next lines, the massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Now, the massive weight, here it refers to uncle's wedding band. When someone gets married, you know, it's a sign of marriage or matrimony. In different religions, in different cultures, it is different. So, like in India, we have the Mangal Sutra, but in Goa, as you know, it's in the Catholics, it is the wedding band. Now, what does it symbolize? That this lady has been married to a person like uncle. Uncle here refers to Aunt Jennifer's husband. So, that wedding band which she is having, it must be some 4 to 5 grams at the most, but it is supposed to be massive, it is supposed to be huge. That means the symbolic meaning behind is that once you get married, you automatically take up all your responsibilities of your marriage. So, she has been burdened by being in this relationship in marriage, where, you know, her husband is the one who has the upper hand, who has all his say. As he wants, he will do, but the aunt is not allowed to speak out a word. She does not have any kind of an independence, not financial nor even pursuing any of her artwork. So, the massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. So, the uncle's band till today which she is wearing, the day she got into this family, the day she got married to uncle, and till today it looks like aunt is in her middle age, but still that wedding band symbolizes that she is like a property of uncle, because he is the one who is the owner of this band. He is the one who has exchanged this ring, but, you know, it symbolizes that this is the ring which was put by uncle to Aunt Jennifer. So, what we understand in these two lines is, what you have to remember is that she is burdened by that massive weight of the ring which is encircling her ring. So, it also refers to the trapping, you know, women are trapped into matrimony. They want to move out, but, you know, because of the society, because of not harming the peace or disturbing the peace of the family, they still remain in that suppressed position. They do not want to leave the marriage so easily. So, she has been burdened by being in this marriage, and that is the reason, maybe as earlier it was mentioned, her fingers are fluttering, she is scared. Next is, when aunt is dead. Now, the last verse. When aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. Now, it is said that if aunt is dead, or it looks also that aunt is in her, aunt is already in her old age, that, you know, the day she will be dying, what is going to be left behind? Only these tigers, but her terrified hands will still lie, the terrified hands will speak the story of her life, where she was oppressed by the uncle, where she was dominated by the men in her life. So, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. Now, here the poet refers to her experiences, to the life which she has led as an ordeal. Ordeal is something which is very difficult to difficult times and hardships which a person undergoes. So, maybe her ordeal is going to end physically for her, but then her terrified hands are going to still tell her story of how she was having a bad relationship or sad relationship in this marriage. So, these terrified hands will lie still or ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. So, aunt's fluttering fingers, aunt's frightened and shaking fingers may come to rest, but the ordeals are not going to end. So, even after her death, her ring will remain on her finger and the husband will still be the sole owner of this life of aunt. The tigers in the panel, last two lines, the tigers in the panel that she made, who made? Aunt made. Now, tigers are the creation of Aunt Jennifer. It was her will to express her art by making or creating creatures who are proud, who are confident, who are unafraid of the men who are standing below the tree. What does this indicate? That if aunt can be overpowered, aunt can be dominated by these men, it does not mean that they can overpower tigers, because tigers are symbolic of bravery, confidence, fearlessness, strength, courage. So, what is this? What does the first line say? The tigers in the panel, the tigers which she has created in the design, in the screen, they are strong, they are fearless, they can't be overpowered by the husband. So, after her death, her feeling of being free, her feeling of expressing and living her life as she had wanted throughout, when she was alive, is going to be spelled through or is going to be read through the beautiful artwork which she has created. After her death, her desire of freedom as well as fearlessness will remain alive in the tigers. When people will come and look at this artwork, they will look at how bold, how beautiful, how majestic and elegant and unafraid these tigers are. They won't talk about the person who created. So, this is how she is having a catharsis of her life, her emotions. She was dominated, she was tortured, she was in this sad relationship with her husband, but the tigers are free. Her wish to live a free, fearless life is indicated by these design. So, these are the lines. I will again just read it to you once again, the whole poem, just 12 lines. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. When aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie still, ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. So, to summarize once again, Aunt Jennifer is creating an embroidery piece. It can be a tablecloth, it can be a wall hanging which depicts tigers, proud, unafraid, elegant, sleek tigers, and the background is the forest, the green forest where actually the tigers belong. So, they are standing and they are prancing, they are ready to jump on the men who are standing below. The men might be these hunters in the forest. What is the color of these tigers? They are bright topaz yellow color. Topaz is a precious stone. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They are not fearing these men. What can they do? Tigers are very bold and courageous, fierce they are. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. They will not act until unless the other person tries and harms them. So, they respect and they honor. That is why they are given this quality which is a human quality of chivalry. A man is chivalrous if he respects a woman. Aunt Jennifer's fingers. Now, when aunt is in the second verse, when aunt is embroidering this panel, she is happy to create it, but then in her mind there is a block, like she is scared. That's the reason her fingers are fluttering. It's not that she is old, but mentally she is still having the fear of the men who are in her life, who are trying and controlling her, fluttering through her wool, and as a result she finds it very difficult to even pull the needle. So, it is actually an exaggeration, it is not that difficult. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band, the massive weight of her husband's wedding band the day he got married, it is supposed to be very huge. It is such that it is very difficult for her to even lift her hand. It is sitting heavily on Aunt Jennifer's finger on her hand. When aunt is dead, so when aunt dies, when aunt is dead, these hands of hers who have created these hands which have created these tigers will be still, they won't flutter anymore, they won't tremble anymore, but the tigers which she has made, they will keep on prancing and they will keep on telling or expressing that aunt always wanted to be free like them, aunt always wanted to be proud and confident, but she was not allowed because she was living in a time or in an era where patriarchy is the way in which our society deals with, and that is a total gender bias where women are not allowed any sort of independence. They can't work on their own, they do not have financial independence, and even in taking decisions in the family they are not allowed. So, that is all about the poem. Now, let us see the theme, as during the explanation also I have been mentioning, it is mainly gender bias. So, the theme is Adrienne Rich is talking of a society which is dominated by men who ill treat the women, who abuse them, who exploit them just because they are of another gender. In the families, they ill treat the women, thereby making them nervous and afraid. So, even if any one of them tries and wants to speak out their mind, it is not possible, because the domination is such that mentally they are burdened and they cannot speak out. During this period of time, there was no gender nor social equality, and that is the reason women, they got married, but they were trapped in this matrimony, in a life of submissiveness and subordination. They were the victims of this oppressive patriarchal society. Now, it is important for us to look at these figures of speech which we have, the important figures of speech according to as they appear in our question papers. So, a few of these have been highlighted here. First, we have metaphor. So, what is metaphor? There is an indirect comparison. Now, in the poem, the lines, when you start the poem, Aunt Jennifer's tigers are bright topaz denizens of a world of green. What are denizens? Inhabitants. So, here how is metaphor seen? The color comparison is between the precious stone topaz, yellowish color, as well as these tigers who have the similar color. The yellow orange color of the tiger is indirectly compared to a sparkling topaz stone. Then we have again examples of alliteration. So, in the lines fluttering fingers, prancing proud, both these alliteration is seen. Why fluttering fingers? Why is alliteration noticed here? Because F is the consonant sound which is repeated. Fluttering fingers, f. Prancing proud, p and p. The letters start with the sound, consonant sound, p, or pr. So, that is alliteration. So, for poetic effect, alliteration is used in poems. Next is transferred epithet. Now, it is said that Aunt Jennifer's hands are terrified. So, terrified hands. Now, in transferred epithet, normally an adjective is transferred from one to the other, one noun onto the other. So, in this case, the adjective terrified is transferred from aunt. It is not the hands that are terrified, it is the aunt who is terrified. So, it is reflected in the fluttering of her fingers, she is terrified. So, the adjective terrified is transformed from the aunt onto her hands. So, it is transferred epithet. Next is onomatopoeia. Now, fluttering fingers. Now, onomatopoeia is a figure of speech wherein the sound itself conveys or tells you the meaning of the word. Now, fluttering is normally you can flutter your eyelids, the butterflies flutter their wings. In this case, it is the fingers which are fluttering. So, the sound which it is making, the fluttering sound tells you the meaning. So, it is onomatopoeia. Then there is the next figure of speech, we have hyperbole. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band. Now, uncle's wedding band is not that heavy that aunt can't lift her hand, but it is said that the weight is lots, weight is huge. So, it is an exaggerated statement. So, in massive weight we find this hyperbole, massive weight of uncle's wedding band. And then last we have personification. The tigers are given this quality, they pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Tigers are given this human quality, men are chivalric, we will call gentlemen who are equally respecting women as their subordinates. No? Sleek chivalric certainty, they are chivalrous, they respect women, they honor them. So, chivalry is a quality which is a human quality which is given to the tigers. Okay. Now, you will get two kinds of questions, that is one based on the extract from the poem, that is the reference to the context, and they will carry two questions. So, one question is going to be on the figures of speech which I just finished, and the others will be questions. Now, the questions which you ask for the reference to the context have one figure of speech and another is a direct question related to those lines. So, figures of speech we have completed. Now, the other questions are, I will just do these with you, but I would like to mention that another part of this poetry questions is a direct factual question which you ask carrying 2 marks. So, these are those questions which can also be asked as 1 mark question or even 2 mark questions in the reference to the context or a direct factual question. So, let us see some of these, because these are phrases which might be asked in the reference to the context. So, these are the important questions and here are a few points. These are just guidelines or these are just some points which you can use to make your answer. The first one, explain terrified hands. So, in the lines the phrase is mentioned, no, in these lines, aunt's terrified hands will still lie in her death, ordealed with the things she was mastered by. So, the explanation of terrified hands is that, you know, Aunt Jennifer is terrified in her marriage by her dominating husband, and that is the reason her hands are shivering, her fingers are fluttering. Next is, what does this phrase ringed with ordeals imply? What do you mean by ringed with ordeals? Aunt Jennifer is so victimized in her life that even after she dies, even after her death, she will remain trapped, because you know the ring is still lying on her hand and that ring belongs to her husband. So, we find that aunt is a victim of gender injustice and oppression. Explain massive weight of uncle's wedding band. Now, what do you mean by massive weight of uncle's wedding band? Now, this is again a symbolic phrase which mentions that, you know, the male dominance or the male authority is supreme. Matrimony binds women physically as well as mentally. Physically you can control someone, but you can't capture the mind of a person. In this case also, if you see, Aunt Jennifer's mind is so free that she can think about these proud and free and elegant, unafraid tigers. So, likewise Aunt Jennifer is trapped in gender oppression and she feels herself burdened by the authority of her husband. Next, how is Aunt Jennifer affected by the weight of matrimony, or how is her marriage? Aunt Jennifer can't do things freely because she is under the rule, you can say, under the control of her husband. He dominates her. So she seems to have lost her identity. The freedom that she is dreaming through her art is symbolic of her oppressed self. So she does not have an identity, but she is free to portray anything through her artwork. Why do Aunt Jennifer's fingers flutter through her wool? Aunt Jennifer, as mentioned earlier also, that she is physically under control, under the dominance, under the oppression of her husband, but her mind is free. But still somewhere in that mind she is so scared that when she thinks that my husband is going to come and then he is going to look at what she is doing, he will scold her, no? Maybe he will even ill-treat her. So she lives in that constant fear of her husband. She feels so nervous and terrified that her fingers shake and flutter when she sits down doing her artwork. Why does she find it hard to pull the ivory needle? Now, aunt finds it very difficult to pull through that needle whenever the thought of her husband comes, because you know he must be insulting her, he must be abusing her verbally or maybe even physically. She finds it hard to pull the ivory needle more because of mental suppression, not that much due to the physical weakness that she has taken up, all the exploitation, all the what we call the torture she has undergone. But because of the constant fear which is there in her mind, she has become sort of a nervous wreck. The moment she starts thinking about the husband, you know, physically in her body, the result, the reaction can be seen. So that is how she is trembling and that is how her fingers flutter. Now, what are the qualities which the poet is trying and mentioning about these tigers here? So, tigers as it is, they are a very fearless, ferocious beast of the jungle. They are highlighted here in her embroidery. Aunt Jennifer has created them, and Aunt Jennifer's nervousness and timidity are totally in contrast with these wild tigers who are not at all afraid of the men who are standing and who are ready to hunt them. The tigers do not fear anything, they display a spirit of courage, fearlessness, strength and confidence. Also a question like explain, what do you mean by the phrase in the lines, they pace in sleek chivalric certainty. These are the tigers who are pacing in sleek, majestically chivalric manner. Now, the way in which the tigers move, no, it is called prance. So, the tigers are sleek, they are very cautious, they are very stealthy, they are very sure, confident, majestic and elegant. They are sure of their purpose. If they are going to jump from the tree, they know that they are going to pounce and they are going to capture their enemy, here the men. They are very gallant, courageous, confident. They move ahead fearlessly, unafraid, undeterred by any obstacles or hindrances. Last one, why are they referred as denizens of a world of green? The first two lines itself, they are topaz denizens because they are inhabitants of, they are natives of the green forest where they are found. So, the tigers are the dwellers, inhabitants, natives. And thank you. As we come to the end of, I hope this will help you in understanding and preparing well for your exams.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.
अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस।